Hello guys, we are going to continue our discussion with respect to Python, and in this video we are going ahead with the next data structure called tuples. Already in our previous video we have seen about lists. We have seen a lot of examples with respect to lists, almost 30 examples if I remember correct. We understood about list comprehension, different methods, operations, and many more things. Now let me take you to the video outline, the things that we are going to cover in tuples. So first is introduction to tuples, creating tuples, accessing tuple elements, tuple operations, immutable nature of tuples, tuple methods, packing and unpacking tuples, nested tuples, practical examples, and common errors. Now let me give you a short definition of what tuples are. So tuples are ordered collection of items that are immutable. They are similar to lists, but their immutability makes them different. So lists that were discussed in our last video, so they are mutable, but tuples are immutable. We will discuss more about the immutable nature. I'll give you some examples and I'll show you the difference. So let's go ahead with our examples on creating tuples. I'll explain you how do we create tuples in different ways. Okay. So first, let me just create an empty tuple. Creating tuple. Okay. So empty tuple is equal to, so tuples, we give it as a round bracket to create a tuples. And lists, if you remember, we created list using square brackets. Okay, let me now just print the value of the tuple. Print empty tuple. Okay. And if I want to see the type of the tuple, I'll just write print type of empty tuple. Let me go ahead and execute this. So because it's our first cell or first session, it's going to ask us the kernel. We'll select one and we'll let it execute. Okay, so first print statement returns the empty tuple, and the next print statement is returning the class, that is tuple here. Okay, so now I'll show you another way of creating tuples. We saw one way of creating empty tuple. Now I'll go ahead and show you another way. Okay, so I'll show you first list creation, empty. How do we create empty list? So there is a list function here. And if I just write list and round brackets and then assign it to a variable, this is going to create an empty list for me. I'll just print type of LST. And next I'm going to show you how do we create tuples in another way. ETL is equal to tuple and round brackets. So this will create an empty tuple. Print type of ETL. Now let me run this. So the first print statement gives classes list because we have written an empty list here. And here we are creating an empty tuple. So the class is written as tuple here. Okay, now let us see how do we convert a list to tuple. Converting list to tuple. Okay, so first let me assign a variable numbers is equal to tuple, and within this I'm going to create a list. So we are seeing how to convert a list to tuple. So I'll create a list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, suppose. So to this list, this is the list. And then giving the tuple function here for the list to be converted to tuple. Now, if I just want to see the numbers here. Okay. So this was a list. And if you see the output now, this is a tuple. So this is how we convert list to tuple. Similarly, we'll see how do we convert tuple to list. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write the list function here. And within this list, I'm going to give a tuple and the same 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, so you see here, I passed a tuple here to the list function. But when I gave it to the list function, the output is in square brackets. So square brackets is nothing but list. So tuple has been converted to list now. So we will see now how we can give different data types to a tuple. Let me just go ahead and show that here. Mixed tuple is equal to, within round brackets, I'm writing 1 and then hello world, then 3.14, which is a Boolean value, sorry, which is a float value, and then I'll pass a Boolean value true. Then I'm going to write print mixed tuple. Okay, let me just execute this. So now if you see, give the output as 1 hello world 3.14 and true. So this was the basics on tuple creation. And next we are going to see how do we access tuple elements. Accessing tuple elements. Okay, so let me just check what we had in the numbers tuple. So it's 1 till 6. Now we are going to access few of the elements from this tuple. So it's the same way we did for the list in our previous tutorial. So I'm going to print numbers and I want to access this element from the second index. Okay, so we'll just see 3. So this is the 0th index, this is the first index, and this is the second index. So it returned me an output of 3. And let me just see if I do print of numbers and I want to access the last element from this tuple. So if you see, -1 is used to access the last element and the last element is 6 here. Okay, so if I now write print numbers and I want to do some slicing operation here. So I want to retrieve the elements from 0th index till the 4th index. So 4th index in the sense this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th index. So it will exclude the value from 4th index and it will start printing the values from 0th index till the 3rd. So the output should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we got the tuple here. And next, if I want to print the tuple in reverse order, what I'm going to do, print numbers, and I'm going to default the first and the last index. I'm just going to write the step parameter as -1. So if you see here, we got the tuple in the reverse order. This is the actual tuple, and the reverse order of the tuple is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and see some tuple operations now. Tuple operations. Okay, so tuples support various operations like concatenation, repetition, and slicing. We are going to discuss one after the other now. So first, let's go ahead and check concatenation in tuples. Okay, so if you remember, we had created one tuple called numbers, and if you see the values in this numbers tuple is 1 till 6. And we had also created one variable or tuple called mixed tuple, and we are going to see the value, what are the values that holds 1, hello world, 3.14 and true. Now let's perform concatenation operation here. Concatenation tuple is equal to numbers plus mixed tuple. Okay, and let me just print this concatenation tuple and we'll see the output here. So if you see here, it concatenated 1 till 6, which is the numbers tuple, and then 1 till true, the value of this mixed tuple. So both are concatenated now. So let's discuss about repetition. Concatenation is done. We'll go ahead with the repetition operations. So mixed tuple, you remember we had values starting from 1, hello world, 3.14 and true. So what I'll do, mixed tuple, I'll multiply it with 3. So this means whatever the value is there or the elements that are present in this tuple is going to be repeated thrice. Let's see the output. If you see 1 hello world 3.14 true. So it's again printing the same. So this is repetition, guys. You see the same thing is getting repeated. So we have now 3 sets of the same elements in the tuple. So these elements are getting appended 3 times into mixed tuple. So we'll see the same thing for numbers tuple. Numbers multiplied by 3 if I do. So 1 till 6 will be repeated 3 times. 1 till 6 and again 1 till 6, again 1 till 6. I hope you are clear with concatenation and repetition now. Now let us discuss the immutable nature of tuples. Okay, so tuples are immutable, meaning their elements cannot be changed once assigned. So first we'll see how we do in list, how if we can change the elements in the list. So I'm creating a list, I'm assigning the values as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so I will print the value of list here, and then what I'm going to do is I will try to change the value of the first index. I'm trying to assign in Ipshita. So first index is 2. So I want this 2 to be replaced with the word Ipshita. And let's see if it's doing that. We'll print LST. Okay. So first has the original values 1 till 5. And second one, if you see, when I tried updating the value of the index 1, which is 2, it replaced 2 with Ipshita. So this is what mutability is in list. So lists are mutable. We can change the values even if we assigned it like earlier. But tuple doesn't allow that. So we'll check that out. Numbers, we had the numbers tuple. We'll see the values here again, 1 till 6 it has. Now what I'll try to do is I'll try to update the second element or the first value from the first index. I'll try to update it with Ipshita and we'll see what happens. So if you see here, it gives an error saying tuple objects doesn't support item assignment. So this is what immutable is. Elements cannot be changed once assigned. There are ways you can do it, like convert the tuple to a list and then change the element, and then convert the list back to a tuple. Let's go ahead and check some of the tuple methods we have. Tuple methods. So let me print numbers dot. I want to check the count of occurrence of the value 1 in the existing tuple. So if you remember, the numbers tuple holds numbers or elements starting from 1 till 6. So if I write something 9 which is not available in the list, you won't get any, like the count is 0 because the number or the value 9 doesn't exist in the tuple. So let me keep it as 1. Okay, so we got the count or number of occurrences of the element. So I'm going to give another example of methods. Numbers dot, let me go ahead with index. I want to get the index retrieved for the element 3 in the tuple. So it's second. So if we now see numbers, okay, so 3 is the element here. So 1, 2, 3, this is the 3 element and index for 3 is 0. So this is 0th index, this is first index and this is the second index. So we got 2 as output for index of 3. Okay. Now we'll learn a new concept called packing and unpacking tuples. So guys, this would be very handy while developing projects and we are going to start with packing tuple. Okay. So let me create a tuple here. Fact tuple is equal to 1 comma hello comma 3.14 comma row. Okay. So whenever I give some comma separated values, by default it is going to pack the tuples. So let me just show this to you. I'll write a print statement and pack tuple. Okay, you see here it packed all the variables, like all this I passed it as a comma separated variables. It packed it with rounded brackets here and created a tuple. So this is tuple packing. And now we'll see how to unpack a tuple. Okay, so I know that we have four variables here or four elements in this tuple. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write four variables here, A, B, C, and D, and I'm going to assign these to the packed tuple. Okay, and now when I print A, print B, print C, and print D. So this is going to unpack the tuples. You see here? So these all came out of the tuples now. These are behaving as single elements like 1, hello, 3.14 and row. So let's go to another amazing technique like unpacking with star. We saw how to unpack tuples, but let's go ahead and see how do we unpack. Like if there are a lot of elements, how do we unpack that? Unpacking with star. So numbers is equal to, I'll create a tuple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'll assign a variable called first, and then star middle, and then last. And I'll give it to the numbers tuple. Okay. So what it will do is the first element will be assigned to the first variable here. The last element 6 would be assigned to last, and star middle means the rest of the elements would be assigned to the variable middle here. So let us just go ahead and print the variables. First, print middle, print last. Sorry, last. Okay, so the first variable holds the element 1, the last variable holds 6, and the middle variable holds 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if we go ahead and see a nested tuple, we'll give some examples and we'll try to understand how do we handle nested tuples. Okay, so before that, let us see one example of nested list. Nested list. So I'm going to create one list called LST. And I'm going to have a nested list here. So first sub list will have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And after that, another sub list 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then another sub list with 1, comma, hello, comma, 3.14, comma, C. Okay, so you see we are having many sub lists inside the main list. So now we'll try accessing the elements from the main list, and I want to access the elements from the 0th index. So here 0th index is nothing but the first first sublist here. And from the first sub, okay, let me just print this out. If you see, it gave us the first sublist. So this is the 0th index of the main list. Now, if I want to access only specific elements from the 0th index, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this out. Suppose I want to do something like 0 till 3. So 0th index till the 3rd index. So this is 0. Okay, so this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this will exclude the value 4, like the value from the or the element from the 3rd index is going to be excluded. So the output should be 1, 2, and 3 here. So if I execute this, you see here. So this is how we access the nested list element. Similarly, we'll see how do we do this for nested tuples. Okay, I'm just going to copy this out. I'll print it here and I'll change this to, suppose let me change only one of the list to tuples here. Okay, so within this main list, I'm having two sublists and one tuple here. Okay, and I want to access the second index. So second index is nothing but this is 0th, this is first, and this is the second index. So from the second index, I want to retrieve elements 0th till the 3rd index. Okay, so it should print 1 hello and 3.14. Okay, sorry, I gave it as 3 comma 14. So 1 hello and 3.14. Okay, so I hope you are clear now. Now let us see another example on nested tuples. I'm going to create one nested tuple here, and in the first subtuple I'm going to write 1 2 3. In the second subtuple I'm going to write a comma b comma c. Okay, and the third subtuple I'm going to pass true comma false. Okay, so let me just print this out. Print nested tuple, and I want to access the first index element from the first index. And then we'll also see another example, nested tuple, and let me access the first index now. First index with we'll see this, okay, how it behaves. Okay, so in the first case, when I did 0th index, it will retrieve me the first element, that is, or the first subtuple, 1, 2, and 3. And when I do give it as first index, it will go to this one, this element, this subtuple, ABC. And from this, it is going to retrieve the element which is present in the second index. So this is the 0th index, this is the first index, and this is the second. So C, it is retrieving C as the output because we gave like from the first index, or from the first index retrieve the second index. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So let's go ahead and see how do we iterate over nested tuples. Okay, I'll create a for loop here for subtuple in nested tuple, another for loop for item in subtuple, and I'm going to print item comma and is equal to this. So I'll explain you this in a minute. Let me just complete this looping and another print. So if I execute this, if you see, it is returning 1, 2, 3, and then ABC, and then true and false. So this is a nested tuple. So what we are doing, we are creating a subtuple out of this nested tuple, and from this subtuple, we are trying to access each element. So what is the importance of this? I'll tell you. So if I just like remove this spacing, right? See, this is the difference. So this is nothing but for each item, after it prints each item, I'm just giving a space for readability. Okay. And this print statement is for like once each subtuple is printed, this is one subtuple, this print statement will add a new line. So this is the use of this first and the second print statement. So I hope you're clear with the iteration over nested tuples. So these were some of the examples we have seen with respect to tuples. We have seen different operations. We have seen packing, unpacking. We have seen the inbuilt methods. We have seen some common error. We have also seen tuples immutability. So I hope you liked this video. This was it from my side. I'll see you all in my next video on Python dictionaries.